welcome to our YouTube channel. This is Legal Bands. Here on Legal Bands, we talk about insightful legal topics in the simplest way that you can understand it. If you've not seen our previous episode, I'm linking it somewhere in the description box or above the screen. I want you to go and check it out to see how insightful it was. On today's episode, we are going to continue from where we stopped in the last episode. In the previous episode, we spoke about marriage. We spoke about the grounds on which you can say you want to divorce from your partner. You can't just wake up in one beautiful morning and say you are done and then you are out of the marriage. We are going to continue on those grounds in this episode. But before we continue, it's important to introduce the beautiful faces that we have on this show. Sitting beside me is Oluyemi.
Hi everyone, welcome to Legal Bands.
Then we have Itunu.
Hello.
And then we have Eniola.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good to be here.
So, my beautiful and brilliant lawyers, like we said in the first episode, is it possible for a man or a woman to just wake up and say, I am leaving my husband's house, I'm leaving my wife, I'm no more interested? We spoke about some grounds on which it is actually possible legally for you to leave. I want you to throw more light, I want you to speak more on the other grounds. As we mentioned in the first episodes, that there are actually 7 grounds on which you can base divorce on. That is, you can go ahead and meet your lawyer if you cannot tolerate that marriage anymore. On this episode, we want to talk extensively on some of those grounds. So I want you to pick it up from where I've stopped. Please help me.
The one that touched me the most in all of these grounds, everything is adultery. Married people committing adultery, like there's no shame again, no shame in it. So men do it now, women do it now, and you're wondering, is this ever going to stop? Right? So you find a situation whereby a man who is asking for divorce on the grounds of adultery has even committed adultery too. So everybody is just doing anywhere, picking another person's man, picking another person's woman. It's crazy, and it's really burning me. And you know, the thing about adultery being a ground of divorce is that there is a caveat to it, in the sense that if you say you want to go to court and seek for divorce on the grounds of adultery, and then you have forgiven that person, your partner has committed adultery, he has come back to you, he has begged you, say, I'm sorry, I will not do it again, it's just this time. Then he does it again, then he comes back, I'm sorry, I will not do it. You forgive, you kept on forgiving. If you now want to go to court and say, on the basis of that adultery, that you have forgiven him before, that you have moved on with your life, you have condoned it, and the court is not going to grant it. So before they will start calling it, say, your mother-in-law brought vegetable, she begged you, your pastor called you and begged you. If you want to file for divorce on that ground, it won't work again, except maybe there's another adultery entirely different from that one that you are forgiving him, right? And then you got to this place for you, and you're like, no, this one I'm not going. Maybe it's your neighbor or your pastor's wife, pastor that has been coming to be praying for you.
And a cheating partner cannot stop.
Yeah.
But the thing is this, importantly under the law as well, you cannot say somebody, you want to divorce somebody on the ground of divorce without bringing the person he committed the adultery with.
Yes.
So if I'm Mr. A married to Mr. B or Mrs. B, Mrs. B has committed adultery with another man, and based on that, I want to come to court and say, I want to divorce. The law is saying I must bring Mr. C that Mrs. B committed adultery with, and join in the suit. So we'll be a party in court. That's number one. Again, law is evidence, like we mentioned earlier. Law is evidence. So you cannot just wake up and say you committed adultery. Or probably because you're feeling he's getting too close with our neighbor's child. Or he's getting too close to his secretary. And based on your intuition as a woman or assumption, you think that you can file for divorce. No. Law wants evidence. So there must be evidence that your partner is committing adultery with the adulterer. So, what are the kind of evidence that the law expects from you? Probably you have pictures. One thing is penetration is key. Now, penetration is you seeing your husband, your wife in real action with somebody else. Painful cut in the act. So that's how you want to prove, you can prove adultery. But the truth is, looking at it, most of the times you really, or even if you, I mean, if I catch them in the act, do I want to take pictures? You will not think about evidence, right? So you probably be shocked, you cry, you beat, you fight, whatever thing comes to your head you want to do. But definitely not you taking pictures or of them. I mean, so how do you want to prove the act that you have seen? Other than you coming to court and stating it that you saw this. Then you can now back what you've seen with probably document like chats, maybe they are exchanging nudes. There was a case I had of a lady who reported and said that the wife or the husband was paying, I don't know, some girls to show him nudes, right? But now again, the evidence you want to prove must be linked to the adultery you have joined in the suit. So if your evidence is linking someone else, it probably not adultery. So adultery is very difficult to prove.
You know, in social media right now, or rather with the digital world, most people are prepared. I want to go and catch him or her in the act and start doing video.
Or maybe your friend has told you, I've seen I saw your husband in one hotel. They are always coming to this place. Come so time, we'll go there. That can work because you are going with like you are preempted what you are going there to do. You have planned yourself. But maybe the guy they bring girl come home. And you've gone home, you've gone to work, and you're coming back. Surprise in the office. And you now met him and detected. You know, those ones you don't want to take, or probably maybe they have CCTV camera.
You can go back.
You can get ahead. But really, in the ideal situation, and as lawyers, we all know that proving adultery is harder, kind of, compared to other grounds of divorce. And that brings me to desertion. So desertion is basically when one of the partners, right, leaves the marriage because the other partner has left for like 1 year. Now, leaving now is also in context because it could be that the spouse left the house. Now, somebody can desert you even while you're still living in the same house.
Like a flatmate.
Like a flatmate. Like,
they just abandon you, you know, like
all the
marital
duties and not your
exactly. I mean, I learned of a story where the guy, like, they just separated rooms. In the same house, the husband now has his room, the wife has his room, and nobody, like, they don't have anything to do together. So it's more or less like you have already deserted the partner. But under the law, that ground has to be for a period of 1 year. So if that has been happening, I mean, there are some houses you go to now, they say there's madam room. There's a girl's room. You grew up like that.
Mother having her own room and my father having his own room.
And it's a monogamous marriage.
Very, very monogamous.
So, well, you know, some people have that, but doesn't mean there won't be consummation and they are not doing things together. But some people are even on the same bed and they are being deserted. I think we did a divorce case where I mean, they were living together and for 3 years they didn't have any, they didn't have any intercourse. That is still some form of desertion. So, if you are experiencing such things, you can bring a petition for dissolution of marriage, and on that particular ground of divorce. But there are also other grounds, like what's it called? Separation.
Separation is also another ground where you can file for divorce. Separation means leaving your partner, just as the way the host asked the question. Can the spouse, him or her, just wake up one morning and like, oh, I'm tired of this marriage? Yes, it's possible. Now that person can just wake up one morning and tell you, I'm traveling to Abuja to go and seek for an employment, and the person is gone. But you cannot bring that for divorce until or except that person has been separated from you for the span of 2 years. And when that has happened, you need the consent of the other partner to file for a divorce.
Consent, when you say consent, excuse me, like
you're asked to tell the other person that I want to divorce you.
You want to file for divorce and then that person agrees that, okay, it's fine, I'm okay with it.
No, but that's not. Is that what the law is?
Yeah, that's what
my understanding is that. If I'm correct, like my understanding is, you separated without my consent, not like with my consent. Like if I consent to you leaving, it then means I've condoned it.
Yeah.
But to establish separation, it means I didn't tell. For instance, you say you are going to you are jackpying to another country, right? And I'm in the marriage as a woman. I'm saying no, Nigeria is good for us. Let's stay in Nigeria. Eventually, you did the process. You left without my consent. Yeah. That in my understanding is separation. Not like I have to consent to that.
No,
that's what
the part for consent, if I understand what she's saying, is at the point where you now want to file for divorce, right? Mm-hmm. So if the other party is not objecting to your petition for divorce, then under 2 years, when you have been separated for 2 years,
so if I object, what happens? If I object, what
happens? So you have to wait until it is 3 years. So when you are separated for 3 years, then the court can grant your divorce. Wow. But when it is just 2 years, you need the other party to consent with that. He himself is not even interested in this marriage.
Yes, well, the same with when you are being separated from
divorce is actually finalized. I feel there's also a particular stage where the law is like, okay, you guys should go your separate ways. Then if it doesn't work, then you can come back. Am I?
Yes, that's where you make an application for judicial separation. Okay. So not divorce now. Yes.
And so we have to explain this thing because we are all even learning.
Yeah.
I did not even know that the other partner needs to consent
for
the 2 year separation. Yes. For me, I feel like we have separated. I did not consent to it. You left me here and I got to file.
You know, if that is not there, then there will be no need for the provision for that 3 years.
For 3 years. That's
also when you are separated in the span of 1 year, you also need a consent.
For the discussion part. Wow. Yeah. So I mean, you cannot really say there is separation because most times the other party might actually anti your petition, right? If they are objecting to the petition, so it means that it cannot fly.
Yes.
So you have to wait for 3 years.
You have to wait until it's 3 years.
And there are also times when you might want it, the other partner might want it, but they cancel. I had a situation where I think the man is based in the UK, the woman is in Nigeria. The man is trying to do everything possible that, okay, fine, since we got married here, let's divorce here. But the cancel is because maybe he wants his
money.
Was obstructing until my office had to have a one-on-one conversation with the. So I'm like, oh, is that simple? Oh, is that easy? Oh, fine.
Lawyers.
Let's do it. So at the end of the day, I mean, we have to learn and understand these procedures. Like, you cannot just wake up and say, this is the way it is, this is what I'm doing. We all need the guidance of lawyers. In fact, as we are here, we are lawyers and we are still learning from ourselves. And that's the beauty of this kind of platform, right? Yes. Where we all learn one or two things. So it is not enough to say we have not been living together for 1 year. I think I've had a situation like that where the woman said, we've not been together for 1 year. Apparently, she's even been seeing somebody else. And she's like, this person is giving me all that I want. Why am I still in this marriage? I want to divorce, right? So we have to read through law. And one thing with law is when there is a comma, it can change the entire interpretation. Yes. So these are the clauses that is added on these grounds that we all have to understand. Then again, there is another one that is called the presumption of death.
Yeah,
absolutely.
When you're being absent in the family for the span of 7 years, you're presumed dead.
So they don't see you for 7 years. They don't know your whereabouts. They don't know. After 7 years,
nobody even can say I saw him somewhere.
That's the clause now that is added to that. Yeah. Yes, you have not seen the man or the woman for 7 years, but the law is saying that everybody that should see him have confirmed that they don't know where he is. Like his mother, his father, his friends, his co-workers, office, you've gone to those places and they've said, we cannot find this man. So until then, you have to satisfy to the court that all of these things have been checked before you can say.
What if the person has moved on?
It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. I personally feel that 7 years
is too long. Yes.
Whoa.
Like, so you have to stay waiting for them to come one day.
I think for this presumption of death, right, there are instances whereby maybe you don't even have any issues in the marriage, right, but you just don't know the whereabouts of this person and you are willing to wait for as long as it takes, right? So it's not because you are eager to get the divorce, but after 7 years, if you waited for someone and you don't know the whereabouts, you can
wait for one person.
Some people can wait 10 years, 20 years now.
So at the end of the day, I think we need to understand the rationale of the law. and marriage. What's the rationale of marriage? Marriage is not meant for you to jump in and jump out.
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
you are expected to sacrifice and work and do something. So it is not. It can't be. It's not. It shouldn't be made easy to live.
Yeah.
Some people were saying that it's so easy to marry, but it's so difficult to live because the rationale or the thinking of the people who drafted the law is that you should come in and stay, not for you to come and go.
And I like to add that sometimes I see some things on social media where they're like, and people divorce within 3 months. I'm like, where? Like,
where? How?
How? You got married in January, then in March or so you're already divorced. Like, isn't in this?
So no, the thing is this. I think we need to understand that Nollywood or social media kind of divorce is different from real life divorce. So in Yoruba movies now, they just go say, sign the paper. He has refused to sign the paper. There's no such thing like that. It's a procedure. As a matter of fact, you said 3 months, right? If you file a petition in Lagos today, before you even get that petition assigned to a judge, it could take you 2 months before you can get dates to now say appear before court. Can take another 1 month, 3 months. So before you now start the process,
aside even that one, you don't even know where to serve.
Service is another thing because you are looking for this man, like somebody that we said we cannot fight for 7 years. Where do you want to serve him? Because the other person must receive the petition. You must make attempt to serve. If you cannot now serve personally, you now go through the substituted means. But again, you will see the reason why some people leave. Like I did a case where the both parties are based in Lagos, but the man went to file in Anambra State. Why? Because first, jurisdiction when it comes to matrimonial causes is one. So you can file anywhere in Nigeria. You can you are in Nigeria, you are in Lagos. You can go and file in Adamawa. You can file anywhere.
That was just to frustrate the
well, maybe not to frustrate it, but to make it faster. Now the volume of petition that Lagos receives is not the same as Anambra. So if I want it faster, I'm probably going to go to Anambra. But then it's not 2 months. It's not 3 months. So except the two parties have said, okay, we have agreed, we are no longer doing, right? But again, one thing about marriage and dissolution of marriages is beyond the dissolution. Especially when you have children, because you're now talking of custody, you talk of maintenance of the children. So it's a lot. You talk about their education, you talk about where they would live, visitation rights. It's access, everything. So by the time you put all of that, so the both of us, we don't have problem with dissolution, but we have problem with who has the custody of the kids. Especially when the kids are still quite small. If they are like 15, 16, the court can interrogate them. Based on their interrogation, they can say, okay, you go to your mom, you go to your father. But where there are 2, 3, 4, how do you? So it takes a whole lot. Maybe we are going to do another episode where we talk about the custody of the children.
So far is that it just dawned on me that the law is not even interested in you getting divorced anyhow. But people have this notion that lawyers, they just want to they want you to get
no. So what I wanted to also add to what you have said is that even after at the point where the court now wants to grant your decree for dissolution, the court will first of all grant you a decree nice. It is after 3 months that the court will now make it absolute. So even if that time is there, how do you now want to do the whole divorce under 3 months? It's not possible. So
it's not possible. Now. So I mean, those are the myths
that
on social media around divorce. Now, that 3 month span between decree nice and decree absolute is still to give you room for reconciliation. So now this gives you the understanding that the law wants you to be together and not we want you to be together and not separate. So while lawyers are still there trying to make you guys or do the needful, as lawyers, I mean, we do the needful, and I will look at the interest of my client, not the other party. I can look at the interest of my client and the children, if possible, right? But it is what my client wants as a lawyer that I'm going to do. So even though I want peace, I also want money. So yeah, that's the beauty about law. Law is very interesting. Law gives you, this is the law, but it has some babies.
Yes.
And when we were in law school, when they give you questions, you have baby.
Yes.
baby. So that's the beauty of divorce and all of that. So
well, viewers, I hope you've learned a lot from this video, because I personally, even though I'm a lawyer, I'm learning too.
I've learned.
Yeah.
Thank you for teaching me that.
Yes. And of course, if you want to see these beautiful faces again, make sure you subscribe. I mean, why won't you subscribe? Come on, pressure you subscribe. Don't just subscribe, share with your family, share with your friends. This can also be very helpful to them, and ensure that they also subscribe to our channel. We hope to see you in the next video. Have a lovely, lovely day.
Bye,
afternoon, night, or
guys.
wherever you are.
Bye bye.